Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome again to ICB TV. It's Friday, the 29th of May. Oh, thankfully it's Friday, once again, and I'm very pleased to have Jacquie Mount along with me, as always, on Thankfully it's Friday. I'm hoping she's got some interesting stuff for you. I was hoping to hear a little bit more about the Chancellor's announcement, but I'm not sure whether it's speculation or actual announcement yet, but we will wait and see. So we'll take it on from there. And something just for you to be thinking about while you're listening. Obviously, some of you will have children going back to school on Monday. Some of you may not. And some of you might decide to keep them home for a bit longer. Whatever you decide. However, as I've said already a couple of times, I think 3 o'clock, therefore, might be a bad time for us to continue to run this ICB TV. Now, sorry, somebody's interrupted me there. I said this a couple of days ago, and I've been inundated with people saying, no, we still want TV, just at a different time. So, okay, we are going to continue. We've got a lot to pack in over the next couple of weeks, actually. So what I would like you to do is, if you can, whilst we're on, send through your idea as to what is the best time. Because I think originally we thought perhaps 11 in the morning might be best, and then it'd be a proper morning coffee time. And then I got rather an insult from one of the members who said, we don't have coffee. So I said, all right, well, what about lunch? No, we don't have lunch. So anyway, we can't please all of the people all of the time. Oh yeah, we've got it here now. What time would you prefer ICB TV to take place? 11 till 12, 11:30, 12:30, 12:31, 1 till 2, 2:30 to 3, 3 till 4. So we've actually got an option there. Sophie, you're sending this out to everybody, or?
Yeah, everybody can access this.
Great. So as long as they all know how to do that, that's great. And please let us know. At the end of today, I'll tell you what your thoughts were, but we will be circulating it quite widely as well to see what we get back. So look out over the weekend for an announcement of exactly what time we're coming on, because I don't want you turning up at 3 and we started at 2 or something rather. But anyway, so that's it. Anyway, let's just get rid of that for the moment. Jacquie, bit of a panic on a little while ago there. We thought we'd lost you. But with us now, so what's in the land of furlough?
Right, well, it's been announced that the Chancellor will make an announcement today about how he's going to change the furlough scheme. So I thought, great, because the last one he did was on the Parliament channel at 12:30. But today he's decided to do it at 5 o'clock as part of the daily coronavirus briefing.
I know.
So this is pure speculation and comes from what I've heard, what I've read, and everybody else's speculation is what's going to happen. But before we get into that, the only other real thing that's happened this week is that, as I said last Friday, the SSP reclaim went live on Tuesday morning. It's very straightforward. I've spoken to a couple of people who've used it. You need to log into the portal in a very similar way to the way you log in for your CJRS furlough reclaim. And you have to give all your PAYE details. Agents can do it as well. And you have to, as I understand, you have to list the names of the individuals who you've been paying sick pay and the total amount that you're reclaiming. And I think that's all you have to give. I don't even think you have to give their national insurance numbers, but I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong on that. And then again, it's a speculation about what's going to happen about the partial drawback of the furlough scheme. A lot of speculation, very close to what we speculated about when it was first announced. And I think the way it's going to happen is that from the 1st of August, the full-time furlough moves over to part-time furlough. So if you have somebody working a couple of days a week, you can claim and put them on furlough for the rest of the week. Or if they're working mornings or afternoons, you can claim for the other half of the day. Now, from the 1st of August as well, and we think it's the 1st of August, employers are going to have to pay part of the furlough wage themselves. So it's going to be very similar to the sort of calculation we did in March when we were doing part furlough months. So you'll have a look at what you're paying them. You pay them for the hours that they're working, and then you will furlough them for the rest of the time. Now, what I don't know is whether you're furloughing them at their current wage or the wage we've been using to calculate the averages over the past year. So whatever you're basing that furloughed wage on, you will then look at what you would pay them for the rest of the week, work out the 80% of it, as we've done normally, and then the employer has to pay part of it and the government will pay the other part. Now, what's going around, if you've been reading the papers this week, is it's anything between 20 and 30% that the employer has to pay, and the government will then pay the remaining percentage of that. But what it means, as I'm sure everybody is aware, is that if you are still furloughing all of your staff from the 1st of August, you are going to have to start paying part of their salaries yourselves, and you also have to pay the national insurance. There is a debate going around at the moment as to whether the government's going to pay the pension schemes or whether the employer is going to have to pay it. But that is going to make a huge hole in a lot of businesses because they're still not getting any income and they're going to have to start paying their wages. So Gary, I think we speculated on this last week.
Yeah, and they've thrown out a few announcements. I think waiting to see whether the world caved in around them, and if it hasn't done, they're probably going to go ahead with it. But so we think it's likely to be up to 30% of the 2,500. So that's £750. So if you've got 10 employees, that's £7,500 a month extra coming out, then obviously it will make a difference. I'm not sure whether this is because they're running out of money, because I'm hoping that isn't the case, and I don't think it can be. I think it's just a sort of an incentive to get some people to take some of their stuff off furlough and start doing more with them. Because I mean, I was listening to a couple of people talking the other night, and they were just saying that they think some people have thrown everybody into furlough very quickly, and they're sitting on huge piles of money in the bank and expecting the government or we, the taxpayer, to dole them out. So there might be some naming and shaming coming up at some stage. We'll have to wait and see on that. But the last figure I heard was 25%, but I don't know. 30% has been mentioned. 50% was mentioned at one stage, but that I haven't heard.
I think that's too big a jump. I think it's going to be too big a jump. But also, the other possibility is that they'll stagger this as they go across the next month, because it finishes at the end of October. So we have got August, September, and October. We've got 3 months. It would make sense for the employer to say pay 25% in August, 50% in September, and working up to the 100% for the end of October. But I have no idea. Nobody's mentioned that. So we really don't know, but it is being announced at 5 o'clock today. So we'll.
Yeah, and I'm presuming he's also going to say something about the self-employed.
Yes, we still don't know what's happening about that. Obviously, people have only been paid for March, April and May. Those payments are going through, maximum £7,500. There's been a lot in the press, but if they don't do anything more for the self-employed are going to go down because they're not getting anywhere near as much money as people who are employed. And I know you were talking a lot about small businesses yesterday. On your webinar yesterday, and how difficult it is for them and what's going to happen. And this is obviously been set up as an incentive to gradually get small businesses back to work. If they can't go straight back full-time, it's gearing them into working back to full-time work and building their businesses back up. But until we hear the announcement, we don't know what's going to happen. And I haven't heard very much speculation about self-employed at all.
No. We are so much in limbo at the moment. I mean, I think the number of deaths actually went up a little bit yesterday again, and we haven't even come out of lockdown yet. So I think everybody's got their fingers crossed and they're holding their breath, really, and that they're hoping that it's not really just going to bounce back, because if it does, by this time next week, Jackie, we could be talking about another re-furloughing of people, another re-close down. I mean, we just really don't know at this stage. So
we don't know.
And that's because we've been silenced by government. That is just, we seriously don't know.
No, and until we know what's going to happen with the releasing of the lockdown, I mean, there are so many things, possibilities going around at the moment, that if I just have this nasty suspicion that if we thought March was going to be difficult, the next couple of months is going to be even more. But at least we've had a go at it in March with part-time calculations. So it shouldn't be too difficult to do the calculations. once we know. But we're still getting an awful lot of queries coming through on the helpline with individual cases which seem to sort of, which don't fit the mould, and it's trying to make it work for them.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been trying to get a couple of the ministers to come on and say a few words to us, and I got the note back from a lady who is a private secretary saying, at the moment the minister is concentrating on sectors that are struggling a little bit more. So I took that as a compliment, I think. But we have got the minister. My interview with the minister that was coming on here, unfortunately, has been put off. That was due to be this afternoon, funnily enough, but he is unable to do that now. So anyway, but
yeah, I think they're all having to play it fairly close to their chest at the moment. I think they're also quite worried about possibly getting some nasty questions. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. The thing is, the last thing any minister wants is us pinning them down. We're trying to get answers from a question which actually the Chancellor is going to actually announce in a couple of hours' time. And bearing in mind we finish at about 4 and the Chancellor comes on about 5, somebody could ruin a good career by giving something away they shouldn't have done. You know?
Yeah,
so,
this is true. No comment has never been more forceful.
I mean, I know from the past that I've been to dinners where ministers have not turned up. You know, there's a spare seat, and everybody said, "Oh yeah, well, there's such a lot going on at the moment. He doesn't really know what he can say."
Yeah,
so,
I know. This. Oh God, who'd be a politician? Not me.
I know. Well, I couldn't be, as you well know. I don't know what I can say. I sort of slip up and say.
Yeah, we're both alike in that respect.
Yeah,
so that's really all the news at the moment. Lots of questions coming in. Do you want me to start working through them, Garry?
Yeah, let's have a look. I'm just watching. Somebody's just sent me something here. Oh, we've already got people in with their timings here.
Yeah, I've got some here, and someone's just said there isn't one for I don't mind.
Well, 1 till 2 is the highest at the moment with 30%, followed by 11 till 12 with 22. Why is it never conclusive? We're going to end with roughly 20% each or something or other. So, yeah, let's start and go.
Right, messages coming in on the question and answer from Matt. Good afternoon, guys. I'm watching your webinars in between revising for my first bookkeeping exam. It's a nice break. Well, it is so nice to know we're a nice break from studying for exams. So, good luck with those.
Well, Matt, you keep that up. There's
a lot of you out there doing exams at the moment, as Garry said last week. Faye, good afternoon, Faye. Is there any reason why my client couldn't get staff in for 2 days and furloughed for 3 days from the 15th of June in Wales? I haven't seen the Welsh announcement. Should have checked on that one. Because, of course, the announcement of this is really, I think, is only in England, because Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland are making their own decisions, aren't they? So I will do a quick look and see.
Yeah, I have to say it's not it really isn't a political point, but I'm finding, watching the news and not realising you're listening to somebody from Scotland talking about something that's going on, and then somebody from Wales, and then England, and we're making very slightly different decisions as countries at the moment, and it is getting difficult. I mean, if you live on the border and you cross over from England to Wales or England to Scotland or vice versa, you know, knowing what the rules are when you get there, it's going to be quite difficult, really.
I have to say, I've got so much going on at the moment. I didn't pick up whether this is going to be a general, whether it's just for England. So I should know that. I do apologise. I will try and see if I can find something for you by the end of this afternoon.
You read the one out from Nicola about there isn't an option for I don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Toby, if you're listening, it might well be worth having I don't mind. But actually, if you don't mind, then it probably doesn't matter. We're okay without there. But let's keep an eye on things, how they're going. Actually, Little 4 has also now got 30%. I mean, we are going to be really stuck with this. We're going to get...
Even if you don't have it, it'll make you take a break. Faye, again, Faye's done an SSP claim, basically claimed 14 days, which is the maximum for 2 weeks, type number of employees, 4 employees times 188.50, which is the maximum. So, yeah, that looks fairly straightforward.
Liz Fisher mentions, can I ask a size question?
You certainly can. I may not be able to answer it.
And there she is, Liz Fisher, this is. I'm a sole trader and went to maternity leave June 2018. Congratulations. and returned to work February 2020 before losing my childcare a month later and was unable to continue looking for clients. The portal says I'm eligible to claim, but I just want to check that being on parental leave counts as still trading, regardless of how long you took.
Yes, I think what it might do is it might affect the amount of income you can claim. But I think you can still count as trading because you were fully intending to come back to work. You're intending to carry on trading. You are trading. You're going to be trading till next year. Just carry on as normal. But what you will get may be dependent on what you were earning, or it may be an average of what you did over a couple of years.
I might be imagining this, but weren't we given the answer on this quite early on, which I know is now what 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks? I can't remember.
9 weeks ago we started, I think, didn't we?
Sorry?
I think it was 9, wasn't it?
It's something like 9 weeks ago, okay. That if you have been on maternity leave, you go back to the last 12 months during which you were trading and use that as an amount. I think only make sure they give you the proper amount and you don't overdo it. I don't think there'll be any complaints if you can justify why you're doing it. And
but of course,
SSP.
The SACE is different to the CJRS because with the SACE, it's based on your taxable profits from your self-employment returns. So depending on what you submitted for a self-employment return, that's what they're going to base your claim on. So that may or may not be affected by the amount of income you had.
Terry ran with a question for you, Jackie, if you can see that one.
From Terry, hi Jackie, I realise it's speculation, but some companies will be unable to pay the contribution. Do you think they can just bring them back and not claim the difference? By the employer not impacted, but the employee will. It is speculation, Terry. I'm assuming you're talking about not paying the employer's national insurance. Now, don't forget, we have been talking quite a lot about employment allowance. So at the moment, if you're bringing them back and you're claiming the employer's allowance, you're not paying employer's NIC anyway. So you won't be able to claim it back because you won't be paying it. So it may be that may not kick in for a while, Terry. And you've got £4,000. If it's a very small business, then it just depends on what your salaries are and what you're paying.
John Bocott or Borcott. Sorry, John. I'm not quite sure I've said that correctly. Any news on when we can make amendments to a furlough claim?
No, I haven't heard that it's open yet. They've opened the SSP one this week, and I think it's the next one to come on. So I would imagine it's going to be a couple of weeks yet. They were talking about the end of this month, but I haven't heard anything since. And sorry, Faith come back and said, I think retail opening is the 15th of June. Let's just pick up on Faith's query about working 2 days and furloughing 3 days. She did mention in Wales, and I'm not sure what the rules are in Wales, but once they're back at work, the furlough scheme will allow them to work for 2 days a week and be furloughed for 3 days a week. Yeah. And the 3 weeks will go. The other thing that's happening is that from, I think it's a date in June, but I would imagine he's going to announce this tonight, there will be no new furlough claims allowed. You can't suddenly decide once we get into this flexible furlough scheme that you can suddenly start putting people on furlough over the next couple of weeks. So again, that's another thing that we're waiting for the announcement on. There is a date beyond which you won't be able to put new people on.
Now, Liz Fisher says, yes, income is down, but couldn't get my head around whether it was allowed under rules. Haven't been able to watch all of these. Sorry, toddler. Well, yeah, we understand, Liz. Yeah, although we did have one lady last week that said she liked Fridays because that was the only one she was able to watch because she was able to put her little girl on her knee in front of her computer and she liked watching Jackie's ears bobbing around. So, who knows, eh?
And they bob up and down. Oh, I like it. Different pair every week. I'm trying to get a different pair every week, you see, so you don't see the same pair each week.
You can make a furlough amendment by ringing HMRC and giving them the details on the telephones.
Yes, you can, Lynn. Thank you. Yes, you can make...
Lynn Tim, that is it.
Yes, you can make the furlough amendment by ringing them. I actually said that to someone via an email this morning. However, it's going to take you a while to get through, I think, and to be able to do that. So yes, you can do it by telephone. Liz.
Terry, on his
Yes,
question.
Liz has come back with income is down, but couldn't get my head around it. Yes, furlough. I don't think the furlough scheme is a devolved issue. Thank you, Nicola. My brain funk there. It's the dates at which people are going to be able to come out of lockdown, I think. So yeah. So hopefully, yeah, part-time furlough is there.
Tom said the claim was very simple. I had no issues. I don't recall having to give NI numbers, and when I processed the claim this week, fine, all done. So well done, Tom. Good old bookkeepers, keeping the head above.
Terry's come back, said, no, Jackie, I'm talking about basic pay. They'd paid £400 a month, brought back and only enough work to pay 100. Is it mandatory to claim the difference? Well, the furlough scheme will work so that when you bring your staff back, you'll pay them for the hours that they're working and then furlough them for the rest. What we don't know yet until 5 o'clock tonight is actually what that is going to be. So we'll maybe have to do a detailed follow-up with this, depending on what Gary's doing next week. I'll follow up.
Yeah,
fairly early next week, but I don't know. We'll wait and see. Terry, I'll try and get my head around that and get back to you on a one-to-one, if that's all right.
Correct.
Tom.
Yeah, no, I think we're...
Thank you, Tom. No, that's right. My member I spoke to didn't have to be NI numbers, so that's good.
So how have your panels been going, Jackie?
I've got the people. I haven't had a chance to contact them yet. I'm just waiting. We've had a slight issue with contacting you all through our management database, which is a technical thing. So my apologies. I was hoping to do it this week, but I have got the list of people now, and I am going to get in touch with you all. So I need to try and get onto that early next week. I was hoping to do it this week, but there's been a slight technical delay, shall we say.
So one of the most active ones of those was obviously the one about nurseries.
Yep.
So nurseries will be affected by what happens from the 1st of June?
Yes, very much so, because if the nurseries are going back, that's probably been the most complex calculations we've had to do, simply because nurseries get part government funding, and that has affected what they can claim and who they can claim for. And we've been round and around the circuit on this one with everyone that's been in nursery, who's got clients in nursery, and I think we've got there with everyone. We've ended up with a variety of possible answers as to the way you calculate it, but nobody who's made a claim has had it rejected yet or been told it's wrong. So we think we've probably just about got to the bottom of it. And I would thank anyone who's listening, all the people who have sent me in their information that they've got from various websites. And somebody did a webinar last week with a specialist organisation, and that's been very helpful.
And I've just had an email to say my dental surgery is opening next week, so isn't that fun?
Yes.
I've been putting things off for good reason for a long time, but never mind.
Yeah, I know. I had the cancer appointment as well, so got to go into that there.
But I've got to wait for another month for a haircut, apparently.
Yes,
Yeah, I don't think you're struggling quite as much as me, Jackie, but anyway.
Well, you had longer hair anyway. Mine's just growing into a horrible shape, so. Right.
I am fortunate that my partner likes long hair. I believe yours likes short hair, so that's... yeah. Anyway, never mind. So, what exactly do you reckon is going to be happening of note over the next couple of weeks? Is it just now going to be the furlough? It's going to be the slow regeneration, or how do you see it going?
Well, I think it's got to be a slow regeneration. It is going to be slow because my concern is, as with a lot of other people, is that this will gradually. The ideal situation is that businesses will start to get going again. Business will start to resume, and everything will gradually get better and better. But the problem is, as everyone is aware, if you start to release the lockdown, if the virus contagion goes up again, the whole thing might escalate, and we might be you know, I just think it's going to be cyclical for a while yet.
Yeah, I just for those of you who are listening, our members, ICB is not proposing to go back to the office at the moment. I don't think any of you have noticed any difference. We're all available exactly as before. In fact, we're so well pinned down, you can get at us far more easily, I gather. And I don't think it's, you know, I wouldn't be happy asking our staff to go back to our office because, you know, it's a fair size office, but we are in close proximity and we have a kitchen, we have, you know, we are fortunate, we even have a pool table, but things like that are really not acceptable, I don't think, at the moment. So sharing, you know, toilet sharing, all this sort of stuff is going to be difficult. So at the moment, I've said to our staff that we are certainly going to be working from our office, homes offices for the foreseeable future. One or two members of staff have nipped back into the office to collect posts, to do various other things one at a time so that nobody gets in there and send things around. The way things are going, I think we may well stay out of the office for the remainder of this year. I can't see it turning around unless this bug suddenly disappears, but I can't see it. You know, yeah.
And of course, there are a lot of businesses which are still going to be very, very badly affected. And my biggest concern is that once businesses start to have to contribute towards furlough wages, that we are going to see an awful lot of redundancies and everything else. And that, I think, I'm already getting more and more queries about redundancy, and I can't answer those questions because they're employment issues. And it's a question of what's going to happen if and when people start to be made redundant, because I think up till now, everyone's been fairly well supported. I know the self-employed haven't done as well out of it as possibly the employed, but I think it might start to kick in. We'll see. It's going to be very up and down for the next couple of months, I think.
Next week, one of our sessions, one of our programs, depending on the time we choose and all the rest of it, we're inviting the company in that we use for our HR and employment law support, Quest. And I'm waiting to hear. I might hear within the next sort of half an hour as to when they're coming in. I think it could be Monday, but we've just put some very useful templates up on the web, and it was in the newsletter that came out last Thursday. And so things like how to go back to work, how to go back to the office, questionnaires that you need to put out, etc. And I think they'll be able to answer a lot of questions. So that's going to be really good. I keep getting asked about Summit. Believe me, if I had a definite answer, I would be giving you that. What I can say is that Summit was supposed to be Monday and Tuesday, the 16th and 17th of November. Something will happen. We are hedging our bets a little bit. I mean, I don't know. It's several months away. We might be all clear by then. We don't know. But whatever happens, there will be a summit. Where and how that will be run, we don't know. But the 16th to the 20th, that whole week is Global Bookkeeping Week. So we're going to be doing stuff right the way around the globe as an ICB. With all of our branches wherever they are, and particularly on the 18th of November. I have said this many times, I've tweeted it, but I want you to remember this date and have it really etched on your mind. The 18th of November is Razor Cup Day, and they've now decided, I think, probably to stop clapping for the NHS, but you as fantastic bookkeepers deserve your hour of praise. So as far as I'm concerned, the Razor Cup Day will not just be about raising a cup to the normal high standards that you have and the fantastic job you do, but the absolutely beyond belief way that you've tackled this COVID. You've got your clients sorted, and you know, you've really made this work. Now, I know some of you have struggled. You know, I'm not belittling that. I know that we have conversations with people all the time, and I know some of you have either lost or will lose some clients. But many of you are telling us that you've been able to find new clients because so many small businesses that were doing this all by themselves now really need some help, and you've really stepped up to the mark for this. So our day, your day, is Razor Cup Day on the 18th of November. So please don't forget that. We're going to start off raising a cup in New Zealand with our ICB New Zealand, onto Australia, obviously, through Asia, coming out over here, and then carrying on. And by the end of whatever that is, I think it's a 48-hour period it works out at. My master's isn't that clever at the moment. We're going to finish off somewhere over on, you know, the sort of USA coast and various things. So that's a very important day. You deserve that day, but I want you to get your clients ready to raise a cup to you. We need pictures, we need videos, we need selfies, whatever it is you can get. Let's just show the world what bookkeepers are all about. It's great. Anyway, right. Jackie, we've had a few more questions in, I think.
There is one from Claire about a textbook and how does she get it back to the office if the office is closed for a refund. One for you, Garry.
Oh, what's wrong with the book? Did she say?
It's a double order. It was ordered twice.
Oh, right, okay. To be honest with you, I'd hang on to it. I'll get somebody to get you a contact. Claire, which Claire is it? Does she say?
No. It says Claire, but
no. Okay. Look, no. Yeah, don't worry about it. I mean, it's not gonna. We're not going to chase you up or anything else. But we will just make sure you haven't photocopied all the pages. You know, that's the main thing. No, just joking. I'll get somebody to give you a call and we'll sort it out, or we'll send somebody to pick it up, or I don't know. Perhaps it's a Christmas present. Wrap it up and send it to somebody. Oh, I'm going to get a stick for now for saying that. Never mind. Yeah, I bought 2 copies and paid for both. Was just very excited. Well, that's brilliant. Actually, somebody said to me last week, look, why can't we start paying for Summit now? Because if it does go ahead, I want to start planning and spending my money. Yeah. Is it that you don't want my money? I said, no, it's not that we don't want your money, but if it doesn't go ahead, we probably won't want to give it you back either. So I can't go to it for the moment.
Interestingly enough, on the date, Space said Phantom of the Opera finally coming to Cardiff. Booked a year ago, that's been cancelled for mid-December to mid-January 21 shows. Sad but necessary. Shows how far ahead group gatherings are considered. Yeah, I'm being treated to an evening at the Royal Albert Hall, and obviously that was due to be in June. That's been cancelled. We've no idea when that's going to be rescheduled.
Well, June and I were treated to a very nice meal at the the Ritz as part of our 40th wedding anniversary, and that one's gone by the wayside somewhat. So I'm hoping that they'll honour that still. We did manage to get the one that you and the rest of the staff kindly gave us, which was a night out at the theatre. So we went to see the Mousetrap. Never been there before, so that was good. Got that one done, just by the skin of our teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it is a difficult one, isn't it? It's really difficult to know how it's going to work.
I know. My daughter and I decided for our Christmas presents last Christmas to treat each other to a spa day. So we paid the deposit, but then that got cancelled. So, and I can't even get them to answer the phone now to give me a refund. So we're just going to hang on and see if they've said they'll honour it when it's all back. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, so you're all being very quiet today, folks. There's not many questions. Tom's come back again and said, SSP claim was very simple, had no issues. Don't recall having to give their numbers when I processed the claim this week. No, I think it's just the names and the amounts that you're paying. So that looks as though that's another one they've got. Let's hope the amendment one, CGRS amendment one goes through smoothly.
Right, actually, I've missed some of these questions. I've gone to the end rather than halfway through. So thank you very much.
I think we've got most of them.
Yeah. Frustrating, I obviously can't return this until you open again. And frustrating as I live very close to Tooley Street. You've just said you may not be back in the office this year. I'm going backwards here. I do apologise. So yes, I've preempted that a little bit. I think.
Yeah, we've covered all of the questions. I think now. The only one outstanding that I need to get back to is Terry, and I'll do yours individually, Terry.
Okay. Hey. So Sobi, if you're there, I don't know how we're doing on these percentages now. Are we levelling out at 30% roughly for the main 3 days, or where are we going?
The most popular is 3 to 4 p.m. at 41%. Next popular is 1 to 2 p.m. at 24%, and 11 to 12 at 16%.
So 3 to 4 is keeping it where it is?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Mm.
Well, I mean, if that is how it pans out in the end, I'm happy to do this. Yeah, okay. So
At least we do record it for people if they are popping out to the school to be able to watch it afterwards.
yeah, it surprises me how many people download it later on Facebook.
Mm.
I mean, we're several hundred each time. I mean, I think some days are more popular than others, obviously. But you know, we've had, I think the highest was a couple of thousand, and I think the lowest, even the lowest, was about 400. So, I mean, that's not bad. It's a good way of reaching people. So, and the other thing is, if anybody knows of anything that you'd like to have on as a part of this program schedule, or somebody that you'd like us to speak to, or something like that, please let me know. And Patel came on and was telling us all about how he is a 100% practice, and I know we've had quite a lot of comments that were not brought up at the time, which we will be covering in an article, and we'll put that up on the web so that you get some of those questions. I think you were pretty well split. 50% thought, yeah, this is the way ahead, and 50% thought, no, I want to stick talking to my clients on a regular basis. So I think some sort of blended offering is probably going to be the norm. But you know, what we are trying to do as an institute now, working forward, particularly for I think it was Matt, wasn't it, that was saying he was halfway through his exams. We have to, as Jackie will know, continue to make the exams as relevant as we can, and it's how much automation we now bring in as part of our exams. What we don't want to do is teach people to do something which, when they come out, it looks completely different, or it makes it look as if what we're doing is old-fashioned. However, just in case Jill from Training Link is learning, I promise you, Jill, we will maintain the basic standards of bookkeeping and the underpinning knowledge. We are not thinking of losing that whatsoever. You've got to have that. She'd have my guts for garters if we change that. And I think Jackie, I mean, you were looking after our exams for quite a long time, and
Yeah.
you know, you and I have had these discussions so often, but you still need to know what it is you're doing. The computer can do it, but it can also do it wrong if you don't know what.
I mean, those of you who've listened to my talks at Summit in previous years, or I've known me over the years, will know that the computer's great, and as long as you you put everything in correctly, you should get the correct answers out. However, the biggest problem that members have when they're out in practice is that you do not get a company that starts up on day one with £10,000 capital paid into the bank. What you get is a client who says to you, well, I've had a bookkeeper before, not an ICB bookkeeper, and I'm not quite sure. I think I got it wrong, or even worse, I did it myself, and I really don't know what I was doing. And you've got to be able to go in and correct it. And that's where you need to know the basis of double entry, not to do a set of manual T accounts, because we don't test manual T accounts anymore. What we test is the understanding that once you put something into a system, what are the debits, what are the credits, where does it sit, what does it look like in the trial balance? So you need to understand the principles of double entry. And I have to say, even today, if I get a really complex technical query come through, I revert back to the T accounts to work out where it should go and what it should do. And you know, I still use that if I get queries. So,
yeah, I think I've likened it so many times to my son James, who was one of the first groups of school children, I think, to be given a calculator and told you don't have to do your 10 times, you know, your 1 times, your 2 times, your 3 times table. And when he was using his calculator, his head didn't automatically say that figure doesn't look right. Whereas if I think you know what 8 8s are 64, if you put 8 in by 8, you press the wrong button and you get 50, you think, hold on a minute, that's not right. And I think it's the same. I've always likened it to that when I'm talking about software and bookkeeping. You have to have this sort of inane sense of roughly what it's going to be.
one of the biggest problems that we get with the early exams, particularly on the computerized exam on A3, and I'm well aware of this, is that people submit their reports, but they do not actually look at them before they submit them to see if they make sense. And I know the marking team looks at these sometimes and thinks, have these people really checked these reports that they're submitting to us? I know there's one particular member who's doing exams at the moment, and it is being able to look at something that you've produced and see if it makes sense, or if you've actually produced the reports that we've asked you to produce. And we ask you for some very specific reports. And if you don't produce those reports, you will lose marks, because if you're doing this for a client, then and you can't produce the information that the client understands, then you've not done your job properly. And interestingly enough, for anyone else out there who's starting this learning, if you send us a data file of the wrong company, you will immediately fail, because you have just broken every rule of data protection under the sun by sending person A, person B's file with all their data in. So if you dig a mock paper and submit it for your live exam, you fail instantly.
Yeah.
Because that's what will happen if you're out there in practice.
And I remember, I think I've probably mentioned this before, but when we were at our first office on Bloomsbury Square, and the inimitable Leslie Ellis was our director.
Know that gentleman well.
He looked after our books, and we had a young man in from a firm of accountants that we were using at the time. I won't use their name, but he sat down at the big table that we had in our boardroom, and he came in and he put everything on the left-hand side, and as he put it into the computer, he moved it onto the right-hand side. The following day he came in and for some stupid reason moved it from the right to the left. And he completely got everything wrong. And I remember Leslie looking at him and saying, "That isn't right." He said, "Well, it must be. I've put it into the computer myself." And Leslie said, "No, it isn't right."
Yeah, I remember that year. I was still with you in that year.
Were you? Yeah. I
was in the. I remember that year. So anyway, okay, we've got some more questions coming in. Naomi, I'll leave the one Naomi at 3:37. That's to do with the poll. Graham. Oh, this is an interesting one from Graham. Not too sure if this is too specific or not, but can you tell me the accountancy and tax treatment for fraudulent transactions for a company, i.e. a previous bookkeeper, not me, had directed funds into her own account, accounts not expected, amounts now not expected to be recovered. Well, the bookkeeping treatment will be you'd have to write it off. The tax treatment, I don't know what would happen about the tax treatment. I'd have to look into that one for you. I'm not a tax specialist, so I'm not too sure on that one, Graham. Graham, could I ask you to email that into member services at bookkeepers.org.uk and ask it to be sent to me, and I will take advice on that one from our tax examiner and see what we can do to help you on that one, if that's all right with you, Graham.
Have you answered? Did you notice one from Matt about playing in the brass band?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes, I meant to say that one from Matt.
Yeah. I play in a brass band, and it feels so weird not having weekly rehearsals and concerts 4 times a month. Such a strange time. Well, Matt, you're obviously, dare I use the old one about blowing your own trumpet, but it's good to know you're doing that. So is this professional? Is this what you do normally? Are you doing bookkeeping because you're not rehearsing at the moment? And I mean, there seem to be a lot of Zoom orchestras and Zoom choirs at the moment. So, I wouldn't give up too easily. But anyway, Naomi maybe should do another poll to reassess next week, because I think many of us would like to support those with parental responsibilities. And if there had been an I'm easy option, I think we would have ticked that box. Okay.
Ian says, as a recently qualified bookkeeper, I think you're spot on with needing to understand the principles behind the process. I find that I keep using the principles as I make sense of how the cloud software sometimes works. Well, thank you, Ian, for confirming that. What I would say also, I've been bookkeeping for a long time now, and when I used to use the old desktop software, I have to say, with the desktop software, you could always take a backup, and if it went wrong, you wanted to try something out and it didn't work, you would restore your backup and start with a clean copy again. With cloud software, you can't do that because everything is saved. And certainly on some of them, doing it that way does make the audit trail quite difficult to follow through, because I know in one particular software package, they all show their detailed audit trails separately. And if you go back into a transaction and edit it, then some of the software show it separately and others just add it on to the end of each one, and it can make understanding an audit trail quite a complex process. So if you can follow an audit trail through and understand exactly where everything's gone, then great. Lynn has said, I did an amendment to an earlier April CJRS claim for an employee without an NI number by logging into the client via the Corona claim scheme, completing a web chat, and a referral was made for a technician who called back a week later and dealt with the addition for the employee as a separate payment to the bank account, and I received the NI number in readiness for the May claim. I had to give all details of my submission plus 14 members of the staff, but dealt with by a very helpful HMRC technician. Yes, I think in the early days, the queue for callbacks was getting very long. I think actually, Lynn, great that they called you back within a week, because we've had members that were waiting 2 to 3 weeks and still hadn't got a callback. I think the system's settling down now, so that is a way to go. But HMRC are saying, if you can possibly wait for the amendment portal to open, please do it that way. But if you do want to ring them, then that is still available. But it will have to be a callback. But yes, those who've had callbacks, I know everyone's been very helpful and the technicians are very good. So that's great.
I'm looking at the figures here for the people who are tuning into ICB TV. And the biggest band is women 45 to 54, 87% of our audience. So I'm not sure.
Oh, have we lost you, Gary? I think we've lost Gary. Right, when he's having problems with his connections today. So let's carry on with the questions. Karen, hi Gary, I requested for Steve to show us the process of completing the SAR. I'll get Gary to answer that one when he comes back on, Karen. Judith Siddle, hi Judith. If you have a seasonal worker that would not have returned to work in April, so they were not on furlough, when should they be furloughed from, or should they not be? The rule is still, if you haven't submitted an RTI for them by the 19th of March, then they cannot be furloughed. If they were still on the payroll and they've never been stopped, then you might be able to furlough them again as and when they come back. But there is going to be a deadline fairly soon before they can actually go back onto furlough. So you're back, Gary's back. So Judith, hope that's, oh, I'm going to come to face green in a minute. Gary, there, oh no, we've lost him again. I've now got two. Hi, you with us, Gary?
Yeah, I am. Are you? Can you see me?
Yeah, you're very slow. Your picture's breaking up a bit, but
yeah, my iPad is accepting the call on my phone for me, which I don't want it to.
No, I've got two versions of you on my screen. It's one of those days. It's one of those days. Karen, we'll come back. We'll come back to yours. Judith, hopefully that answers it. We just got to look at the dates. Faye says, does anyone remember never using a computer and using 16-column paper? That's what I used in Wales still in the 1990s. Had to handwrite all day books, had opening trial ballots, then journals, petty cash, created a closing trial ballots, and had to know debits from credits. Oh, Faye, a lady after my own heart. Yes, I do. I didn't actually use the 16-column paper, but I've certainly done some manual accounts in my time. One of my clients was a nursery shop, children's nursery shop. And when I was practicing, she still insisted on keeping manual day books and posting everything from the manual day book. And I had to take everything from the day book and do the VAT returns for it from that as well on a cash accounting. So that was interesting. So yeah, been there, done it, worn that t-shirt, but not the 16-column. I can't remember what the name of the paper was. There was a special name for paper that you went in and bought from W.H. Smith. And oh yes, Michael Stockford, thank you. There are some single dads as well that do school runs. Yeah, I know there are.
We did open it up to everybody. It wasn't just for women. It was for everybody.
I think we said parents.
I think so. We had a funny call last week from somebody who said they'd just taken over an account from an accountant. The accountant had set the new business up and had been dealing with them for 3 months, somewhat remotely because of lockdown. And they had told the accountant that they were a plant hire company. So the accountant had set up the books and couldn't understand any of the invoices or the turnover. And it turned out that the plant hire was renting out plants to go into offices. The accountant, they were plant hire, as in tractors, diggers, and everything else. So they set up a set of accounts, which then they sent to them and said, right, you start using this. And there was a complete mix-mash between them because they couldn't understand why they were looking for such small invoices for things like, well, you know, I suppose wire or something. Anyway, so they said they were so fed up with it, they've left, and we managed to find them one of our members, and they are now very happy together. And dare I say, it's a growing partnership. Anyway.
And people are coming back. Steph's come back, said, my mum taught me on 16-column paper, lovingly bound in a mottled brown hardcover book, and Lynn has reminded me that it was Kalamazoo. I started out bookkeeping on Kalamazoo hardcover books. Oh, my analysis paper, Jackie. Yeah, I've used analysis paper. Hi, Margaret. Oh, you're coming in thick and fast today. All our lovely members who, like me, used to do manual bookkeeping. And the new ones will not know what we're talking about at all. So it's a whole different world to anyone out there who's never actually used analysis paper.
Jackie, you know that my biggest complaint about the exams is that all of our exams are remotely marked, automatically marked online, apart from the computerized bookkeeping, which is still marked manually. But that's one of those. I've got one here from Kim Clarkson on Facebook. Have you seen that? Without any redundancies have started. A Bristol recruitment company has just confirmed them today. I think we're going to see a few more of these coming up. Yeah. But I think there'll be a lot of posturing as well, because a lot of people still think the government are going to start bailing out individual companies. And I think a lot of that will probably happen, to be honest.
Well, I think it's already started to happen in the airline industry. We've all seen that. I think it's going to start happening. There's several restaurant chains have already gone down and made everybody redundant. And I suppose these are people who perhaps saw that they weren't going to start up again. One or two of the restaurant chains, unfortunately, who were struggling anyway. I have to say, those companies who were struggling before this went into liquidation fairly quickly, but I think they are going to do a few more. There is one here, Gary, when you were off, from someone about, I'm just going back, lost it now. Someone who is asking about Steve's, oh yes, it's in the answered. I requested Steve to show the process of completing a SAR. Somebody may have come back to you because it's moved into my answer column. So Karen, someone may have come back to you.
Self-assessments, yes.
Yeah.
We're actually preparing a webinar which will be available as a resource on the AML section. But if they need any help with a specific SAR that they're trying to put in at the moment, then get in touch and we can put you through to Steve and you can get a one-to-one. Some real names coming out of this now that come to everything and do everything with us. Really good. Judith Siddle, Steph Busby, Lynn Tim. I mean, Margaret Crawford.
Nicola used the old Kalamazoo books. I remember my dad sitting at the dining room table complaining that he'd lost a penny. I must have got the bug from him. Oh yes, Nicola. Leslie still does that. He still balances his own accounts and he's miffed if he's out by a penny. So, yeah.
What was this?
Oh, Lynn Tim, I have a client who does PR for the airline industry and they're bringing back staff from furlough as they have picked up 3 new clients. Well, that's good news. I think it's going to be very much swings and roundabouts.
Yeah. Somebody talking about the cash books again, going back to the days when Leslie first started with us. I remember this beautiful handwriting in our multi-column cash book. He used to write everything, and he used to pin the checks with a paper clip at the top of each page, and then go off to the bank with them. And God, it was laborious, wasn't it? Really,
quite very time-consuming as well. I must admit, it does save an awful lot of time to deal with these, but it's all good fun.
We do still get a few people paying their subscriptions by cheque. It's really dropped off now. I think it's probably half a dozen a month. but they're adamant that they want to pay by cheque. It's what they do. So.
And I have to say, when I was in practice, and I'm going back, probably 8 years now since I stopped in practice, if not slightly longer. I had 1 or 2 clients that paid me in cheque, and it was such a pain having to actually go to the bank. Nowadays, of course, even that's easier, because with my bank, and I'm sure it's the same with others, you can actually photocopy the cheque and submit it online through the phone app, and pay it in through the phone app by photographing the cheque, which is great. So, especially as around us, we've got to go, like a lot of members, I'm sure, that don't live in the middle of a big town. We've got to go quite a long way to actually find a bank. We do have a post office which will take things, but we certainly don't have a bank within about 20 minutes.
Well, our office is in a very busy part of London, but yeah, finding a bank now, we have to, it's a good 10-minute walk to get to the bank. So yeah, it is difficult. So my dad, I think you replied to Nicola with this.
Yeah, that's Nicola remembering her dad.
They used to have that beautiful wavy colouring all on the edge of the page.
Yeah, the brown book with the blues and pink wavy lines. I think someone said, I think it's Kalamazoo. It's one of them anyway. Oh, memories. I
know. What were those machines where you had rows and rows of buttons instead of a single calculator, where you get one for each number?
The old daddy machine where you type them in and press the button for it to print it up on the paper, and then you press Z for the Z total. Oh yeah, I used to use one of those.
Yeah, and I remember somebody asked recently on the web, it's on Twitter actually, what was your first job? And I told them my first job was actually working at Burton's the Tailors, but one of my jobs in that was actually doing the cash up each day. I don't know why, it was purely by coincidence. And people used to come in to pay off their account every week. We had a little, they had a little cardboard wallet, and a plastic sort of piece came out of it, and I had to put it into a machine, then take the money off them, put in what money they'd got, ring it through, and then pull it out again. And it was the height of automation in those days, because they didn't have to tell us who they were; they just gave us this card. But that's 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, if everybody wants a real chuckle, think about what your computers do now. When I started at college when I was 18, part of my degree was computer studies, back a very long time ago. And the computer that we had was an old ICL 200, and it took up a whole room, a whole classroom, double classroom with this one computer. And it was paper tape driven, and we used to have to type the programs in on paper tape, run the paper tape through, it ran the program, and out came the answer on paper tape, which you then had to recode back. But the hilarious thing was that because it was actually valve driven, it was that long ago, you could only have 4 students in the room at a time, because if you had any more, you had to open the window because the temperature went up too much and the computer stopped. And that was literally a huge room for one computer to do some very, very basic stuff. So yeah, it was a very long time ago. These days, amazing.
I mean, Lynn saying here, one of my first jobs at manual ledgers had to be entered upon using pen and ink only. Well,
yes.
At the risk of it sounding a bit like a Monty Python sketch, I was born in paper bag. When I first went to school, I got I suppose it'd be the same size nowadays as roughly an iPad, but it was a little mini blackboard with a chalk, and that's where we did all our work, and we didn't have paper and pen.
But the reason for pen and ink was so that you couldn't make changes. You couldn't go back and change anything. If you do it in pen and ink, it's a permanent record. And if you have to go and make a manual correction, and years ago when we did exams that were manual bookkeeping, you used to go to an exam centre and we used to physically mark your exams back in the early days of ICB. You actually had to rule out and write it above so you could actually see the change. And that was the audit trail, guys. You ruled it out, you wrote it above, that's your audit trail. But if you think about it, the software still does the same thing, because if you edit a transaction, what it sometimes does is it gives you the transaction and then gives you the correction underneath it. So really not much has changed. But dot matrix printers, Graham. Yes, when I started manual bookkeeping 20 years ago, dot matrix printers were the cutting edge of technology. Absolutely. I've been through a few dot matrix printers in my time.
And can you remember the typewriters with the golf ball?
Oh, yes.
Used to make so much noise.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's gone quiet. It's becoming more of a history lesson, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I was going to say this is it's Friday afternoon. It's 4 o'clock. It's, as I always said, it's starting to get slightly
obviously
lighthearted.
everything that Jackie and I are talking to you about at the moment, our mums and dads told us all about. We haven't seen personally. So that's one of those things. And I'm sure, judging by the average age of the people listening to us, we're probably old enough to be.
There's a few up there with us, Garry. There's a few up there with us.
One
or close.
But anyway, I think we've got a few things coming in, but they're mainly reminiscences now rather than questions.
Nothing else on the chat. I think we've covered all the questions.
Yeah. Sophie, how are we doing on the timings still?
3 to 4 p.m. is still the most popular at 43% of the polls.
Right. Okay. Now, obviously, we're asking people that are tuning in between 3 and 4, so we do need to try and broaden it out a little bit. But I think at the moment we'll certainly continue for a while doing that. But I think we've gone over the hour. I don't want to outstay our welcome and find that you don't actually want to come back at any time. So, Jackie, I mean, unless you've got anything that you want to finish off with.
It's been quite a quiet week this week. I think next week's going to be a bit busier. So I'll be back at some stage next week with some updates, hopefully a lot more information for next week. And if we need to get anything out to you urgently, then we'll get something up on the website or out in a news article. Or we'll tweet it out, or we'll use social media.
Right. Okay. Well, let's have a look. Sophie's just sent me the final plan, the final thing from here. Yeah, 43% went for 3 to 4, followed by 1 to 2 for 24%. Some people obviously do manage time to grab a lunch and want to watch his other sandwiches. The rest really then were very small numbers. So great. Okay, well, I think we've probably got that one sorted. So I know some of you will be nipping out to pick up children and various things then towards the end. But as Jackie said earlier on, anyway, everything that we do is available on YouTube and also on Facebook. If you've got any problems getting hold of those, let us know. Although judging by the numbers, I think you must be finding it pretty easy to do that. We just have another. Thanks both. Nice to catch up. P.S. You're both looking sun-kissed and well. Have a great weekend, Naomi. Thank you, Naomi. My face always goes brown as soon as I see the sun. It goes brown. Nothing else does. I'm completely white over the rest of my body for some reason. It's never worked anywhere else. But apart from that, I am sitting in a decent light. I think probably. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I do an awful lot of gardening. We've got a large garden, and we're even eating our own vegetables now, which is good.
Very nice.
Vegetables. First lot of strawberries this weekend as well.
So we'll see you all at 3 o'clock on Monday. At the moment, it looks like it's going to be Quest talking about HR and some of the legal positions around employment and various other things that they've done. But please look out for the update because things are changing at the moment. Later in the week, then we've got Fresh Egg coming on. Now, Fresh Egg, they're a marketing company. They're working with ICB at the moment because we're upgrading our website. They've had a few problems over lockdown as well. So our website was originally intended to be out the end of June. We're all sitting here with fingers crossed, but it may well spill over into July. We don't know. I'm hoping they're going to do something. Now on Tuesday, by huge popular demand, we've got another tax filer webinar. Now, they do go down very well from tax filer, and I think it's mainly because such a huge percentage of you are now doing the FRS 105 and 102A1, 102.1A filing. It took off pretty quickly, then dipped a little bit, but recently it's absolutely going through the roof. We're up to something like about 55% of our members can now do that, so that's looking good. We've also got Chrissy Applin coming on. She's going to be talking to us about using social media, and we've got a lot of other people joining Chrissy. So I haven't heard who yet. I know Chrissy had agreed just before we came on air, and I think a couple of others as well. So look out for the schedule for next week. It's going to be good. Hopefully you'll find it interesting. It's stuff that members are asking for, and if it's not something you've asked for, then you need to ask. and make sure we get in what you need. But we are just trying to give you stuff that's going to help you get through these times. And then once these are through, you're going to need to, you know, look after your business, make sure it's working properly, make sure you've got everything working, that you're using the right tools. And as always, we are here for you. That's the only reason we're doing this. And in fact, the only reason we exist as an institute. If you weren't around, it'd be a bit of a waste of our time, really, wouldn't it? But anyway, so Jacquie, thank you very much again for your time. And,
thank you.
I'm hoping that next week, nothing too bad happens until Friday, so that we have you on Friday and you'll let it all go. It depends, of course, what the Chancellor has to say today. Yeah. We might have some queries, in which case we might try and get you back on earlier if questions are coming in.
Well, if you need me, I'm here, so I'm not going anywhere. So.
Okay, well, you can go somewhere now as long as you only got me in 4. Is it 4 or 6 people? I don't know, 6 people, I think, isn't it? Something. But anyway,
I'm not sure we want to anymore. We've got so used to being on our own.
I know, it is a bit, isn't it? And somebody said, well, you can meet one family group. Well, you know, I've got 2 family groups. Which one do I upset first?
Which one do you choose? And my next door neighbour was saying they'd love to be able to go and see their granddaughter, but she's 16 months old and it's going to be impossible because she will want to come in for a cuddle. So that's going to be the problem if you have little ones.
Yeah,
they don't want cuddles anymore. My grandchildren are all well into their teens, so.
Well, I'm hoping that we get out of this before my grandchildren are too grown up to want to double. But anyway, so thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sophie, for doing the survey for us. Thank you for sorting that out. Look out for the bulletin to say exactly what's happening next week, and have a lovely weekend. Please be very careful. You know, I don't think much has changed other than the attitude of what you can do. So you need to still look after yourself and keep in touch with us. Thank you very much. Really? Have a great weekend. See you next week.
Bye. Have a good weekend. Bye.